This tutorial is titled Visualizing Geospatial Data with Leaflet JavaScript Library. Leaflet is an open source JavaScript library used for creating interactive maps on the web. It provides a lightweight, simple, and flexible platform for developers to integrate maps into their web applications. And it offers them functionality such as zooming, panning, and the creation of vector layers such as polygons, lines, and raster data. I will begin by showing you how to pull the Leaflet JavaScript library to your HTML document and how to create a map object over which we'll create markers, lines, polygons, layer controls, and mouse events. So when you click on the Leaflet documentation, under tutorials, you can select the quick start guide. You get a step-by-step guide on how to start off with the library. First, you have to prepare your HTML document, and you do that by pulling the Leaflet CSS file and the Leaflet JavaScript library. And you do that through the link element tag for the Leaflet CSS file. So you just copy this link to the href attribute. And for the JavaScript file, you pull it using the script tag, and you just copy this in the source attribute, this link in the source attribute. You have to define the div element that will carry your map object. And to do that, you can just write this HTML code and you give your map object an ID. In this case, the ID given is map. And this will be used in this JavaScript file that you'll see later to reference the map object where all the markers or all the functions will run. And you have to define the style of the map. And here, only the height has been defined. You can also include the width. This is how the map will appear. And in the JavaScript file, you have to create a variable that will carry the map object. Here, they've created a variable called map, and they've used the l.map function to create the map object. And they've passed the ID of the div where the map object will be created. And then using the setView method, they've defined the location where the map will be centered, followed by the zoom level of the map. The base map of the map is also defined using the l.tileLayer function, which is used to create raster layers. And the link to the raster image is as shown. They're using the OpenStreetMap image. And here attributes such as the zoom, the attribution must be added. It's good to add since it's open source, especially the attribution. And then to make sure this image is overlaid on your map object, you end the code with the .add_to method, and you pass the map object where the raster will be overlaid. For the vector layers such as markers, polygons, and circles, you need to create a variable for the vector layer you're creating. For instance, if it's a marker, you'll create a variable called marker, and then you use the l.marker function to define the location where the marker will be placed. And you use the add_to method to specify that you want this marker added to this map object called map. For the circle, you do the same thing, but you now use the l.circle function, define the centroid where you want the circle to be centered, and then attributes such as the color, radius, and you also need to use the .add_to method to define the map object where the circle will be drawn. Same case for the polygon, we use the l.polygon function, feed the polygon coordinates that will be used to draw it, and then lastly use the add_to method to define the map object where the polygon will be drawn. Once you click in this icon, the pop-up that is appearing can be created using this code. You first create a variable that will store the results of the function that is used to create the pop-up, and the function is l.popup. And then you define the location where the pop-up will appear using .setLatLong method, and the content of the pop-up is specified using this .setContent method. And you also use the .openOn method to define the map object where this pop-up will appear. Sometimes you might need to create events. For instance, in this map, any location I click, the coordinates of that location are showcased. And this is done using an event, a click event. And how to do that is first we create a pop-up using the l.popup function. Then we create an actual function that will listen out to the clicking of the map. And this function in this case is called the onMapClick function, and it passes an event. And then you feed it the variable that is the pop-up variable, and you use the setLatLong method, which passes the event latLong and this .setContent method. And then you use the openOn method to define the map object where this function will work on. And lastly, you finalize by initializing the function or calling the function. And here you just start with the map object where the function is going to be active on. And then .on means on click. And then you feed it the name of the function that you've created. And if you click on the doc, you get a general overview of all the methods and functions or the things you can use the library for. You can create map objects, you can create raster layers, vector layers. Feel free to explore the documentation to learn more about various functions and methods that come with the library.